This is a Dynamite Network podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the Dynamic Duel Podcast, a weekly show where we review superhero films and debate the superiority between Marvel and DC by comparing their characters in stat-based battle simulations. I'm Marvelous Joe.
And I'm his twin brother, Johnny DC.
And Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, welcome to 2024.
Yeah, and this year, Jonathan and I will have had this podcast running for a total of 8 years.
Holy shit.
8 years, people. We started this show in 2016. And holy crap, it's been going on a while. Like, if you honestly told me that there were enough Marvel and DC characters to pit in these many duels and this many Marvel and DC related media to review, I would have told you to go fuck yourself.
Jeez. I mean, it's kind of a dream come true, right? For comic book fans. 2023 may go down in history as the year that comic book fatigue finally set in. But honestly, I'm still enjoying most films.
Yeah, who's not fatigued? This guy right here. I'm pointing to myself. Because 2023 had a lot of great stuff come out for Marvel and DC, and in this episode, our annual Brothers Awards episode, we will award the best that the company's produced.
Yeah, this is the 8th annual Brothers Award episode. Of course, we named it the Brothers Awards off of the DC versus Marvel comic book miniseries that came out in the mid-90s, which depicted two cosmic entity twin brothers that each represented both Marvel and DC. So we figured that the name of the award was fitting.
Yeah, and we represented those cosmic entities as little statues that we award these films. You could check out the images of these awards on our Instagram.
Little statues? I've always imagined them as being like pretty big fucking statues, dude.
I thought they were like Oscar sized, you know?
No. We're thinking like Statue of Liberty, bro.
All right. Before we get into our awards, we're going to break down the latest comic book movie news that came out this past week, of which there was none. Partially because Jonathan and I are recording this episode early, but also because, you know, we're like in a dead zone in terms of movie news.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet during the holidays.
But we do have a no prize to award and a new question of the week for you guys.
As always, we list our segment times in our episode description, so feel free to check out the show notes if you want to skip ahead to a particular topic.
Our artificially intelligent duel simulator, AJ9K, has a quick message for our listeners, though, so listen up.
Why, hello there. Do you love listening and chatting about Marvel and DC? Then become a part of the Dynamic Duel community on Patreon, where you can choose from 3 tiers. The Dynamic 2.0 tier lets you listen to this podcast without ads and gives you access to its Discord chat group, where you can chat with Johnny DC and Marvelous Joe. The Fantastic 4 tier gives you that and more, with 2 bonus episodes each month, including bloopers and top 10 shows where Johnny and Joe count down your favourite Marvel and DC subjects. The X-Force tier makes you an executive producer of Dynamic Duel, where every month you help the host choose what to review and who to fight against each other. And finally, the Dynamite Podcast Network tier allows aspiring podcasters to create their own battle-focused show using this Monte Carlo simulator. Johnny and Joe will help you develop your show, provide graphic support and consultation, and get you simulation results to announce on your show. Pitch the twins your show via email at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com or by reaching out to them on social media. Check it out at patreon.com/dynamicduel. Pip pip cheerio.
Thanks, AJ9K, and thanks to everyone who supports the podcast.
Be sure to tune into the Max Destruction podcast, which is part of the Dynamite Podcast Network, which is currently on hiatus for the holidays, but will return soon with more of your favorite action movie hero fights.
The Syndro World podcast is a show that speculates on fights between your favorite anime characters. This week, host Zachary Hepburn will find out who will win between Guts from Berserk against Claire from Claymore.
And the newest show in the Dynamite Podcast Network, Console Combat, hosts John and Dean find out who would win in fights between your favorite video game characters. In yesterday's episode, they speculated on who would win between Joker from the Batman Arkham games and Revolver Ocelot from the Metal Gear games.
Visit dynamicpodcasts.com or click on the link in our show notes to listen to all of the shows in the Dynamite Podcast Network.
But with that out of the way,
quick to the no prize. A no prize is an award Marvel used to give out to fans. Our version, the dynamic dual no prize, is a digital award we post on Instagram and in our email newsletter for the person that we feel gave the best answer to our question of the week.
In last week's question, we asked, which actor would you choose to recast Kang in the MCU and why? Of course, that was coming off of the news that Jonathan Majors was fired as Kang the Conqueror from Marvel. We got 3 answers here, so, 2 honorable mentions and 1 no prize winner. Let's go ahead and run them down. Our first honorable mention goes to Chumnu, who said,
Hello, if I could recast Kang, I would probably cast Busta Rhymes because, he can portray like a what's it called, like a menacing type of demeanor, and I just feel like he would fit the role, because Kang is very menacing himself. So, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening.
So Chumnu gave the answer of Busta Rhymes. Honestly, I've only ever seen Busta Rhymes in one movie, and that was Halloween Resurrection, and he was fucking horrible in that movie. This is a horrible answer. Everyone knows that if you're going to hire a rapper to play Kang the Conqueror, it's either got to be Ice Cube or Ice-T. One of the Ice guys. Not Vanilla Ice. Fuck that guy.
Jeez.
But I think Ice-T could pull it off. He kind of has a cool demeanor. He's a little up there in age. So is Cube, though. They're all getting older. It's so sad.
Or hear me out. You hire Coolio, and it turns out that his character from the director's cut of Daredevil was also Kang. He was a Kang variant.
Coolio's dead, bro.
Oh, no! Really?
Yes!
I didn't know that.
Dude.
Whoops. I mean, we have AI now. It's fine.
You may as well said Tupac or something. Jesus.
Fuck you. I know he's dead.
Anyway, let's go to move on to our next honorable mention after that poor showing from Jonathan here. Our next honorable mention goes to Andrew Schunk, who said,
Hey guys, Andrew Schunk here. I would cast Christopher Judge for Kang. So it's kind of a very dark horse, but he's from the Stargate SG-1 series. He's also the voice of Kratos from the God of War series. I think it's something where he could pull it off.
Yeah, Christopher Judge had a prominent role in the Stargate SG-1 series. He's one of the other dimensional tough guys, basically. I don't know. I never watched the show, but I know of the character. He's kind of like a interesting looking face.
Yeah, he was in The Dark Knight Rises, although it was a very minor role. He was like assassin number 3 or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
But I would say that he has an interesting look. I guess he's a decent actor. I never really watched the Stargate TV series.
Yeah.
But I wonder if he's maybe not a big enough name for Kang, someone who, the MCU is hinging their entire multiverse saga on.
I don't know. I mean, he has fan cred, I would guess. But I just don't think he's that great of an actor. Though far be it for me to judge anybody on a show that I have not seen. So who knows? Did you know that Jason Momoa was on one of the Stargate shows?
I did know that, yeah.
Yeah, he was on Stargate Atlantis.
A precursor of things to come.
So great answer, Andrew Schunk.
But the winner of this week's No Prize is Travis Herndon, who said,
Hey guys, Travis here. So my pick would have to be Chuck Woody Woogie. I think he did an amazing job in Guardians 3. And I think he could pull off being Kang. Now, I know he's already played High Evolutionary before, but you can easily have it that not only he's the new variant, but you can even have it that Kang was a different Kang variant that just took a different path compared to the other versions of Kang. So that's my pick.
Honestly, I don't love any of these answers, but I do have to say that Chuck Woody Awuji is the best actor out of the bunch.
That's true. Yeah, that's why Travis Herndon wins this award. Yeah, I didn't love any of the answers either, but they were in fact answers. And yeah, Chudwookie is really solid, as he proved in the Peacemaker television show and in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. With the nature of the multiverse, you can literally cast anybody and say that they're just a variant. So that's why I don't hate this answer.
But also, it would be weird for the High Evolutionary to be a variant of Kang, I feel.
Who knows? It may just have been a variant who wasn't interested in time, but more interested in biology. They can make it work if they needed to. Rumors are that Mads Mikkelsen, who played Casselius in the Doctor Strange movie, is being courted for the role of Victor Von Doom.
I also hate that.
Well, the idea there according to fan theories, is that they would actually retcon the character of Caecilius so that it was an alias for Victor Von Doom as he was studying to be a sorcerer. You know, in the comics, Victor was learning magic as a way to circumvent death, which is exactly what Caecilius's motivations were in Doctor Strange. And, you know, he already has the fucked up face because of what the Dark Dimension's forces did to it. So it could work.
I take it back. That's actually kind of brilliant.
I don't hate it, honestly.
Well, if you had to recast Kang, who would you cast?
Well, I think the correct answer here was John Boyega, who played Finn in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. The guy was done dirty in the Star Wars franchise, and I think he deserves some redemption in the Marvel Universe. He has gone on Twitter saying he's not interested in the role, but I think for the right price, anybody would be interested.
Seriously, if I was Kevin Feige, I'd be like, what's the number? Just tell me the number.
Write it down. Write it down. I'll add a 0. As in, I'll add a plus sign and then 0.
Jeez.
Final offer. Anyway, thanks to everyone who called in this week, guys. Congrats to Travis Herndon for winning this week's No Prize. If you, the listener, want a shot at winning your own No Prize, stay tuned to later on this episode when we'll be asking another question of the week. And now that that's done,
on to the question of the week. So now that Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom has been released, the DC EU has come to an end. And we want to know, now that it's finished, what would you say are the top 3 DC EU films and why?
record your answer at dynamicduel.com by clicking on the red microphone button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, which will prompt you to leave us a voicemail. Your message could be up to 30 seconds long, and don't forget to leave your name in case we include you on the podcast. We'll pick our favorite answer and award that person a Dynamic Duel No Prize that we'll post to Instagram and our email newsletter. Be sure to answer before January 6th. But I think now we're ready to move on to the main event of this episode, where we award the best that has come out from Marvel and DC in the year 2023. We're going to go ahead and roll out the red and blue striped carpet.
We're going to get in our tuxes.
Let's go ahead and move into the 2023 Brothers Awards.
All right, all of the guests have made their way into the auditorium where we're presenting the awards, of which there are 10 categories. Best Trailer, Best Original Music, Best New On-Screen Character, Best Villain, Best Hero, Best Moment, Best Actress and Best Actor, Best Series or Special, and finally, Best Picture.
There was so much media to pour over for Marvel and DC, both on the small screen and the big screen. When it came to Marvel specifically, the media that was eligible, that was released in 2023, are Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse, Secret Invasion Season 1, Loki Season 2, The Marvels, and What If Season 2.
Right, that's 7 pieces of content compared to DC's 13, which includes Harley Quinn, a very problematic Valentine's Day special, Legion of Superheroes, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Batman, The Doom That Came to Gotham, Titans Season 4, The Flash, Justice League Warworld, Blue Beetle, My Adventures with Superman Season 1, Harley Quinn Season 4, Doom Patrol Season 4, Merry Little Batman, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Holy shit, it's a lot. Spoiler warning, if you haven't seen any of these movies or shows from the past year, there is the potential that we will spoil something for the nominees this episode.
Yeah, DC had way too much stuff come out this year, like almost double the amount of Marvel's projects. It was just too much because no one cares about DC.
Are we going to have to throw down on the stage? Is that what's going to happen?
It depends on what I think of your awards. But let's go ahead and hear them, starting with our first category, Best Trailer.
Trailers exist to get us excited for upcoming films and television series. They are marketing material that show us the tone and tease the story. If they're done right, which they often are when it comes to Marvel and DC projects, it gets us fans all aboard the hype train.
Yeah, these trailers not only got fans boarded upon the hype train, they also smashed barriers of doubt and uncertainty to make everyone super excited.
At least until the films came out.
Yeah, sometimes the trailer is actually better than a movie.
Very true. But let me list the nominees for Best DC Trailer this year. The nominees are Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom Official Trailer,
If you lead, the seven kingdoms will follow.
Blue Beetle Official Trailer,
Let's party.
Nice choice.
The Flash Official Trailer 2,
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Shazam Fury of the Gods Official Trailer 2.
We end this now.
Yeah, we do.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
It's a great list. I'm going to guess that your award is going to The Flash. The Aquaman trailer was also pretty good, but we got it so late in the game that it was kind of lacking in that aspect. But The Flash, I think, actually got us really excited at the time it came out because it gave us the best look into what looked like a really exciting riff on the Flashpoint story.
And the winner is The Flash Official Trailer 2.
Called it.
You guessed right, yeah. That Flash trailer, I mean, all of the trailers for The Flash were amazing, but that one specifically got me super pumped because it had so many great moments within it. It felt very Snyder in a way to me, in a way that it tried to capture emotion and just this awesome spectacle, because the visuals were pretty incredible. The score was sweeping and heartfelt, and you can't top the nostalgia factor of hearing Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne say, "You want to get nuts? Okay, let's get nuts." And the trailer was nuts.
I really like the shot where it was the two Flashes and Supergirl like coming at the camera as the backdrop was like zooming out, you know?
Yeah.
That was a neat effect. I also really like the shot where Michael Keaton's Batman ejects from the Batplane as it's like exploding in the air. There was just a lot of exciting things to get thrilled over.
Yeah, there's also the shot at the very end that closed out the trailer where we see Batman diving through the night sky and the Batplane is in the distance against the moon. What a beautiful shot. It was so good. I was so unbelievably pumped for this movie.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I think this is maybe one of the instances where the trailer actually was better than the movie. But, you know, a lot of people had a lot of different feelings on The Flash. Let's go to move on to the Marvel Best Trailer.
Right, hold on. Let's strike one. You insult DC 2 more times, we are throwing down on this stage.
I've insulted DC like 10 times already this episode.
Strike one.
All right.
I won't stand for it.
The nominees for Marvel's Best Trailer are Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, new trailer.
I'm the man who can give you the one thing you want. What's that? Time.
Echo, official trailer.
You have so much pain in you. You. So much rage.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, new trailer.
Are you ready for one last ride?
The Marvels, teaser trailer.
We're a team.
Oh, no. We're not a team.
We're not a team.
I'm trying to think of which of those trailers got me most pumped to see the show. I think the Echo trailer is pretty intriguing in that it's so very different from anything else that we've received from the MCU television series-wise. But I think even more so than that, the trailer that got me most excited to see a Marvel film was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So that's my guess.
And the winner is Echo, official trailer.
I mean, did I say Guardians of the Galaxy? I going with my first pick. I said Echo.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 all had great marketing ahead of those releases, but a lot of it was kind of to be expected. You know, we knew that they were going to be fun, special effects-driven films, largely sticking to Marvel's brand. I will say that the Marvel's teaser trailer actually got me really excited for that movie, and that was an instance where maybe the trailer actually was better than the movie. But even more than all of those other ones, Echo got me super hyped because I was not looking forward to Echo at all. And when that trailer came out and we saw how brutal everything is, where we see people like straight up shoot each other in the face And,
Right.
Kingpin beats a man to death by punching him in the face. It was a massive signal to fans that the brutality that we were used to from the Netflix shows, specifically the Daredevil Netflix show, was returning. And that is all the news I ever needed to hear.
Yeah, thank goodness. Holy cow. Because I was worried for a second when it came to shows like Hawkeye and She-Hulk and what they did with the Netflix characters. I'm really glad to see that Marvel Studios is making a course correction.
Yeah, and the Echo show comes out soon here. We'll be reviewing it in just a few weeks. I'm looking forward to it, mostly because of this trailer specifically. Let's go ahead and move on to our next award, which is Best Original Music. Now, this award goes to the movie or show that had the best overall musical original score. Music is a huge factor in the quality of these films and television shows. A great score can make a great movie even greater, but it can even make a mediocre movie even greater.
And I feel like that's the case for quite a few films from Marvel and DC this year.
Yeah, given that both companies had some mediocre films, but awesome scores across the board.
Let me run down the list of my nominees for DC's Best Original Music. The nominees are Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Blue Beetle, The Flash, Merry Little Batman,
Those all had great scores. Merry Little Batman was a very unique score, but I think you're going to give the award to The Flash, primarily because of how it was able to incorporate so many different themes from other DC heroes across the decades, from the 1989 Batman to even Christopher Reeve's Superman.
and the winner is Blue Beetle. So you were wrong. Largely because I was really focusing on originality for this award. We had recently heard Danny Elfman's Batman in the Joss Whedon version of Justice League when that came out in theaters. So it wasn't as exciting or as nostalgic, I think, this time around. Unfortunately, I did really like the Flash score and I almost gave it the award, but I decided ultimately to go with Blue Beetle because it was a score unlike anything we have heard before. And I may be a little bit biased because of my Latin heritage, but there was just something about the music that I thought was incredibly moving and touching and nostalgic. Not only that, but I also really liked the music in the movie that wasn't original. There were some timeless mariachi classics like Sinti and Sabor a Mi from Los Panchos that just made the movie even more moving for me.
Yeah, I would describe the Blue Beetle score as mostly electronic with some like Latin beats, some industrial stuff a little bit too. It wasn't like a super sleek score. It kind of had some heaviness to it, you know?
And it was also semi-nostalgic in that it kind of invoked 90s vibes with like its synthetic electronic score like you mentioned. So yeah, I thought it was definitely the best score of the year, and a year with a lot of great scores.
Yeah, same goes for Marvel. Let me go ahead and run down the nominees for Best Marvel Original Music. The nominees are Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, Loki, Season 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
I'm going to go with Guardians of the Galaxy only because I feel like James Gunn does a really good job with music. Now, of course, he's not the composer for that film, but I also remember the music just being really moving in that film in general.
And the winner is Loki Season 2.
Well, that, of course, was going to be my second guess because I also really like the music in Loki.
I'm surprised your second guess was in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse because that movie nearly got this award. With all the incredible music that was in that movie between Gwen Stacy's drumming and visiting Spider-Man India's world and Miles Morales' Latin-feeling theme, there was a lot to really like in the Across the Spider-Verse soundtrack. However, I'm kind of punting that award to maybe the next movie in that franchise, Beyond the Spider-Verse, and hopefully, the score is equally as good there. But for now, I want to give the award to Loki Season 2. Largely because I think Natalie Holt did excellent work on both seasons of this television series. For Loki Season 1, that almost got the music award too, but I ended up giving it to WandaVision just because of the varied nature of all the television themes that I thought were done really well in that show. But Natalie Holt's Loki score is so moving, so beautiful, and very, very unique among the superhero genre. With these really ethereal synths and Nordic feeling orchestral movements. It's just all so well done. But I just remember one of the things that moved me so much in the final episode was the music. I think that music closed out the show perfectly.
I remember when Loki Season 1 came out, I had chosen that as my pick for what I thought was going to get the Brothers Award for Best Music that year. Like you said, it didn't. So I'm really glad that it's winning this year because it definitely deserves it. The Loki score does a better job than I would say most comic book properties of setting the tone.
Absolutely. Let's go to move on to our next award, which is Best New On-Screen Character.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier on in the podcast, if you had told us that comic book movies would still be going strong for the most part 8 years into this podcast, I would not have believed you. The fact that we're still getting new characters on screen is just a dream come true for any comic book fan. Now, a lot of these characters we've known and loved from the comics for decades, but the fact that people are getting to experience them for the first time on screen is one of the true joys of being a fan.
For sure, seeing new characters represented in live action or animation is one of the most exciting things about being a fan of the source material.
We had quite a few new characters for DC this year, so let's find out who's the best. The nominees are Blue Beetle from Blue Beetle, Kordax from Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Space Case from Doom Patrol Season 4, Supergirl from The Flash.
Obviously, this has got to go to Blue Beetle. It's not even a question. I mean, all great characters, but yeah, my guess is Blue Beetle.
Oh, you're so sure of yourself, huh?
Yep.
The winner is Blue Beetle from Blue Beetle.
Of course.
Yeah, no, this one is probably a giveaway because the character was just so unbelievably well realized on screen. Of course, it also doesn't hurt that of the nominees, he was the only starring character.
Yeah, Kordax and Space Case had really minor roles. So did Supergirl to a slightly lesser extent. But yeah, Blue Beetle is probably one of the characters that we never expected to actually get a movie, despite how cool he was. And to see him finally on the screen and realized actually so well from the comics was a great feeling.
I don't know if I never expected it, but I definitely always wanted it because I always thought the character had the potential to be as popular as Spider-Man because he is essentially, in some regards, DC's Spider-Man. He just has a really cool look about him. He's just a really cool character with really cool powers, and it was great, again, to see that realized on the big screen.
Well, there are a few new characters on Marvel's side as well, so let me go ahead and run down those nominations. The nominees are High Evolutionary from Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Kahori from What If, Season 2. Kang the Conqueror from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Spider-Man 2099 from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay, I haven't finished What If Season 2 yet, so I have no idea who that is, but I'm going to say that you went with Spider-Man 2099 because I think they did a really good job adapting that character.
And the winner is Kang the Conqueror from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Gosh dang it!
You're 0 for 3 so far. Some people may say that Spider-Man 2099 is not a new on-screen character because he made an appearance in the Into the Spider-Verse movie, the first film in that franchise. But it was an after-credits thing, so I don't think it was really a proper introduction. I still consider him a new on-screen character for Across the Spider-Verse. And also, I don't actually think that was a solid adaptation of the character from the comic books. He was actually very different.
Well, I thought they improved upon him, honestly.
I don't agree with that.
They did.
Either.
They did.
Okay. He was a cool character, just a slightly different version. But Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors, and this is obviously going to be awkward awarding it, given that Jonathan Majors is no longer playing the character. But I thought he did fantastic in the role. I thought Kang proved to be a great threat for Ant-Man and the Wasp. And as a fan of the character from the comics, I really like this take on the character.
Well, no, he would have been my choice if it were not for the controversy surrounding the character and sort of the bittersweetness that he's not returning to the role.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I do want to give a shout out to Kahori from What If Season 2. She is an original character that was introduced in that season to Marvel, and what a great way to kick off a character's origin. Let's go ahead and move on to our next award, which is Best Villain. Of course, the hero is only as good as his villain. And if a movie or show doesn't have an adequate enough threat, then it's kind of a letdown, right? Villains can really make or break a film. And these are the best villains that appeared in 2023 that we feel pose the greatest threat to our heroes.
Right. And of course, being a great hero means overcoming great threats. You can't do that if you have a crappy villain who should be menacing, cunning, and powerful.
But yeah, that's a great recipe to put heroes through the ringer. I'm excited to hear who the best DC villains of 2023 are.
The nominees are Black Manta from Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, General Lane from My Adventures with Superman Season 1, Yog-Sothoth from Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham, Joker from Merry Little Batman.
What an eclectic group of villains. Out of the 13 projects that you had to choose from, I guess I'm a little bit surprised that these are your nominees, although I can't offhand name you better ones. I'm going to go with Black Manta from Aquaman. That's my guess.
And the winner is Yog-Sothoth from Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham.
Wow.
All right, I will not lie. DC had a villain problem this year. Of the 13 projects, it was really hard to come up with a list of solid villains this year. But once I broke down all of the threats that the heroes faced, I don't think one was more powerful, more evil, and more successful than Yog-Sothoth from Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham. It was an animated film, fantastic film. I loved the film, and I thought the villain was next level.
Yeah, Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham was an adaptation of a Mike Mignola written Elseworld series, very Hellboy-esque in its approach to the character of Batman and his rogues and allies.
Well, it was a Lovecraftian take on the Batman mythos.
Yeah, and it was fantastic. I remember loving that movie, and I do remember the tremendous ending that it had. I don't really want to give it away here because it was just too good to spoil. But yeah, the villain was, in some regards, successful.
And honestly, could kick any other villain's ass. Like, I'm sure your list of villains wouldn't be able to hold a candle to Yog-Sothoth.
Oh, don't be so sure about that. Let me go ahead and get into my list of Marvel villains. And the nominees are Dar-Ben from The Marvels, Gravik from Secret Invasion Season 1, High Evolutionary from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Kang the Conqueror from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
So the way this episode is cut, you probably would not have heard me laughing after you said Dar Ben from the Marvels, but I was. Like, hilariously. Because she was such a horrible villain, I don't understand how she made it on your list. So you definitely didn't choose her. I'm going to guess, and I'm hesitant to do so because I'm 0 for 3 for this movie so far, I think. But Guardians of the Galaxy's High Evolutionary.
And the winner is Kang the Conqueror from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Clearly, I have a James Gunn bias. and I keep choosing Guardians of the Galaxy because I just thought it was Marvel's best film this year. And you don't agree, I guess.
No, High Evolutionary was a great villain. I hated that guy, maybe almost too much, because I was really pissed that they let him live. But also, he was a little bit annoying with how much he freaking yelled. I did not love Chiwetel Ejiofor's performance in that film. But you know that I liked Jonathan Majors as King of the Conqueror, who I think also posed a similar level threat to the heroes.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. They were definitely setting him up to be, of course, as we all know, the big bad of Marvel's multiversal saga. And I guess I'm hoping at some point he gets to the level of Thanos. I just don't think he's quite there yet.
But I think for what they had here, Kang was the best part about Quantumania. I don't think you could say the same about the other villains on my list, that the villain was the best part.
That's fair. Yeah, that's absolutely fair. But also, Kang would not beat the shit out of Yog-Sothoth, so you're wrong.
Yeah, he would. He would
What?
go back in time to when Yog-Sothoth was a little baby and then choke him out.
Oh my gosh. That's strike 2, bitch.
Why?
Strike 2. Ain't nobody dissing Yog-Sothoth. He's like a Lovecraftian god of chaos.
From when he was a baby?
In another dimension outside of Kang's, like, perception?
There are no dimensions outside of Kang's purview.
Yes, there absolutely are.
Sorry.
He's a 3-dimensional being like you or me.
Some would say he's a 4th-dimensional being.
Oh, okay, well, fuck them and you.
Let's go to move on to our next award, which is Best Hero.
Stories have existed ever since humans came up with language. Going all the way back to the Sumerian times, you had the hero of Gilgamesh taking on those primordial deities. Heroes mean something to us as a species. They go through the trials and tribulations of life and teach us lessons that we don't necessarily have to experience ourselves, but love living vicariously through them.
Yeah, everybody loves a hero. Both Marvel and DC had fantastic heroes that displayed all the tenets of great protagonists, like sacrifice, compassion, responsibility, and yes, I think I pulled those from Merry Little Batman.
Well, let me break down the best heroes for DC in 2023. The nominees are Blue Beetle from Blue Beetle, Flash from The Flash, Little Batman from Merry Little Batman, Superman from My Adventures with Superman, Season 1.
That's a solid list. I think any one of those could take home the prize, but I'm going to give it to The Flash largely because of the unique lesson that he learned within his movie specifically. That's my guess.
And the winner is Superman from My Adventures with Superman, Season 1. Wrong again.
I'm actually a little bit surprised. Is it because it was such a wholesome and new version of the Superman character?
That, but also because I think they really captured the essence of the character of Superman, who is, I would argue, the most heroic archetype that exists within comic book heroes. He is selfless and he protects the innocent, no matter the cost. We really saw aspects of the character in the My Adventures with Superman show when he was putting himself in front of bullets and lasers to protect Lois without even knowing that he was bulletproof or laserproof. It was such a fantastic take on Superman. And as we mentioned in that review, it's really kind of unfortunate that they didn't use this take in live action.
For sure. Yeah, the My Adventures with Superman cartoon was a great template for a live action origin story for Superman and his supporting cast.
When it comes to other heroes from DC this year, you know, Blue Beetle really didn't have control of the Blue Beetle suit and become heroic till the very end. The Flash committed a, arguably selfish act that kind of derailed the entire timeline. And Little Batman You know, also a little selfish and definitely disobedient. I thought Superman definitely epitomized what it means to be a hero.
Well, let's go ahead and see who the best Marvel hero of 2023 was. The nominees are Ant-Man from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Loki from Loki Season 2, Miles Morales from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
This is also a good list of heroes. You even have a villain on your list. Interesting. I think I'm going to go with Loki, mainly because the way the show ended with Loki's arc from villain to hero was so unbelievably well realized. So, yeah, Loki, that's my guess.
And the winner is Loki from Loki Season 2.
About time.
Finally got one right.
Damn.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're entirely right. All the reasons that you stated, the arc that Loki went through from his unsuccessful coup of Earth in the Avengers film, where we saw that variant get arrested by the TVA, transform from a selfish egomaniac into the most selfless hero. He basically gives up his entire life to make sure that everyone else gets to live by overseeing the new branching timelines in the new Marvel multiverse. It was an incredible journey from start to finish.
Yeah, it was unbelievably moving. I'm actually really glad you're giving him the award because I wasn't even considering him for some reason because I always think of him as a villain. But yeah, what he did in the show is absolutely heroic.
Yeah, his heroic journey was very different from Superman's in My Adventure with Superman, but no less so heroic.
Great choice. Very happy with that choice.
Let's go ahead and move on to our next award, which is Best Moment. Now, these are the on-screen moments from Marvel and DC television and film that we think were the best, whether that means most moving emotionally or most rousing in terms of action and excitement, or just something that we thought was really cool. You know, cool factor goes a long way for this award.
Yeah, saying that a movie scene had you on the edge of your seat is kind of cliche, but these scenes absolutely had me on the edge of mine. But were also incredibly memorable, which is what I would say is the main criteria for this award. Here are my choices for DC's best moment. The nominees are Aquaman versus Black Manta from Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Final Resolutions from Doom Patrol Season 4, Hallway Fight from Blue Beetle, Worlds Collide from The Flash.
Oh, those are all great moments. I think the one that really sucker punched me right in the gut, though, the one that I did not see coming, and the one that I still can't get over, is Final Resolutions from Doom Patrol Season 4. That's my guess.
The winner is Final Resolutions from Doom Patrol Season 4.
I figured.
So I almost gave this award to Worlds Collide from The Flash. But the more I see that scene, the more sort of it feels out of place with the whole movie in general. The more I notice just the bad CG of it. I thought it was really cool in theaters at the time, and I think it's one of the reasons why I gave the film the high score that I did. But reminiscing on all the different moments from this past year from DC, the Doom Patrol finale was absolutely the most moving. It was so unbelievably bittersweet to say goodbye to these characters and see how they're going to live out the rest of their lives, particularly when it came to the very final scene of the show, which is Robot Man witnessing the life of his grandson and then dying as a result of being so at peace with that.
How dare you bring that up again? Like, my heart, it's still broken.
Yeah, I think that one's going to stay with me for a while, so there was no way I couldn't give Doom Patrol that nod. It was a fantastic show, still one of my favorite DC shows that I would recommend to anyone, and holy cow, if you haven't seen it, I'm so unbelievably sorry for spoiling it, but definitely watch it, it's worth it.
Totally, for sure. Let's go to move on to the best Marvel moments. The nominees are Entangled Wrangle from The Marvels, Escaping the Spider Society from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Loki's Ascension from Loki Season 2. Rocket's Lament from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Oh man, this is going to be a hard choice. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're a big old softy like me and was really affected by the cathartic closure of damn fine television and go with Loki's Ascension.
And the winner is Loki's Ascension from Loki Season 2.
Knew it! I knew it!
Yeah, great guess. I mean, Rocket's Lament was moving, but in a very, depressing way, right? It wasn't cathartic. Loki's Ascension at the end of Loki Season 2, though, was cathartic. It was so satisfying and jaw-dropping and honestly unexpected when he started restoring the multiverse and, giving up everything to oversee its existence. A damn fine culmination to the character and both seasons of the series of Loki. Really couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like the finale to Doom Patrol Season 4, the finale to Loki Season 2 is definitely a memorable one, and probably more memorable than any other MCU show that has come out.
I would agree. Yeah, for sure. Let's go to move on to our next award, which is Best Actress.
There are quite a few actresses for both Marvel and DC that really seem to embody the character from the source material, and yet are also capable of making it their own for the screen.
Yeah, they not only embody the character, they also elevate their roles, I think, to become something more than what's just lifted off the page.
There's some fantastic female characters from the comics, and we want to celebrate the actresses who brought those characters to life in 2023. Let's find out the best from DC.
The nominees are Alice Lee as Lois Lane in My Adventures with Superman, Season 1. Bruna Marquezine as Jenny Cord in Blue Beetle. Michelle Gomez as Madame Rouge in Doom Patrol Season 4. Sasha Calle as Supergirl from The Flash.
This is an okay list. I think it was...
That's strike 3, motherfucker. It's go time.
I think my guess would be Sasha Calle as Supergirl, because although her role was small, I thought it was impactful.
Did you not hear me say it's go time? It's fucking go time.
Ready? That's me slapping you across the face.
Punching you. Right here.
Dude, you're already down with the one slap. I just Will Smithed you.
Clearly, I was still punching afterwards, so no.
And the winner is Sasha Calle as Supergirl in The Flash.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I really wanted to give it to one of the Doom Patrol actresses because I think they're all great in that show. It's one of the reasons why the show is so great, I believe. Michelle Gomez was definitely the highlight of this past season because she had the largest role, and yet she also came across as slightly annoying. So ultimately, I decided to go with Sasha Calle as Supergirl from The Flash just because of her acting ability. I thought she did a fantastic job as the character. I'm actually kind of sad that we won't get to see more of this version of Supergirl, and I really hope we get the chance to see Sasha Calle in more work because she is extremely talented.
Yeah, and just the 10 or 15 minutes or so that she was on the screen, she really made her mark on the character of Supergirl, I think. That will be highly influential, I think, in subsequent depictions.
Yeah, not only did she have a really cool look in the movie, but the way she emoted from sadness to rage to bewilderment, she just did an amazing job.
For sure. Yeah, I totally agree with this pick. Let's go to move on to the Marvel side of things and find out who the best actress there was. The nominees are Olivia Colman as Sonia Falsworth in Secret Invasion Season 1. Karen Gillan as Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Iman Vellani as Ms. Marvel in The
I think you're probably going to give this award to Haley Steinfeld for Across the Spider-Verse. It was a voice role, but I thought she did fantastic in it.
And the winner is Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Right again.
You're on a roll now. You were struggling in the beginning. Yeah, you're right. Haley Steinfeld's performance in Across the Spider-Verse as Spider-Gwen was very on point. I thought she hit all the emotional beats harder than she needed to. It was really easy to empathize with her character, from the opening narration that she gave while she was drumming to the end scenes when she is assembling the team to rescue Miles. I thought it was actually an improvement over her performance in the first Spider-Verse movie. I feel like we really got to know the character a whole lot better in Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it didn't hurt that they gave her some really special moments in this movie. It's set in her own universe with her own art style. But honestly, that wouldn't have meant much if the voice performance is not up to par.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to give a shout out to Iman Vellani from The Marvels. I was heavily considering giving her this award, largely because she was, I think, the best part about The Marvels, which is surprising considering, she's a new actress.
Yeah, I agree. Fantastic job for her film debut.
Finally, Olivia Colman gets nominated for something and doesn't win, right?
I thought she was great in The Crown.
But let's go to move into our next category, which is Best Actor. Like the actresses, the dudes also have a substantial task in bringing these characters to life. Not all of them do it well. It is quite a feat, I think, to bring something so fantastic to life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But when they do get it right, there is no greater joy to be had as a comic book fan.
Let's go ahead and hear who the best DC actors were this year.
The nominees are Ezra Miller as The Flash and Young Barry in The Flash. Jack Quaid as Superman in My Adventures with Superman. Michael Keaton as Batman in The Flash. Xolo Maridueña as Blue Beetle in Blue Beetle.
I think between Jack Quaid and Ezra Miller, surprisingly, I think I'm going to go with Ezra Miller, despite the fact that he's kind of a shithead in real life. I think he did a good job portraying two different characters in The Flash, so that's my guess.
And the winner is Ezra Miller as The Flash and Young Barry in The Flash.
I feel like this is the year where we're probably going to get some shit for the awards that we're handing out, considering we're handing awards to Jonathan Majors and Ezra Miller.
Yeah, this was definitely a really poor year in terms of actors for comic book adaptations, considering, we also had Amber Heard thrown into the mix. People just really did not like a lot of the actors that were in comic book movies this year, Ezra Miller being one of them, you're right. But despite how crappy the guy is in real life, throwing chairs at people and stuff like that, there's no denying the strong performance he gave is not just one, but two different characters, actually three, in The Flash.
Yeah, despite the fact that I never thought he was quite suited to the role, he was enjoyable in the movie, and I think he convincingly pulled off different characters.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who don't think that, he was right for Barry Allen. And I could agree, but I also see where Zack Snyder was coming from when casting him. The Justice League was sort of a five-man band kind of trope, and he fit sort of the silly character archetype that the team needed. Carrying that into his solo movie, The Flash, I thought he did a tremendous job acting against himself and with Michael Keaton and everyone else in the cast.
Yeah, I'm hoping that both Ezra Miller and Jonathan Majors are able to kind of redeem themselves in real life, so that way these awards don't age poorly.
Oh no, we're definitely going to get some shit for them. No one's going to remember these awards by the time Ezra Miller, Jonathan Majors, and Amber Heard redeem themselves, if ever. But I'm sticking to it.
Sometimes as a fan, you have to separate the art from the artist if you're looking to get any sort of enjoyment out of these films.
Absolutely.
Well, let's go to move on to the best of Marvel's actors this year.
The nominees are Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Tom Hiddleston as Loki in Loki Season 2. Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Shameik Moore as Miles Morales in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Wow, this may be the hardest one to guess yet. But I'm going to take a swing and say Shameik Moore from Across the Spider-Verse.
And the winner is Tom Hiddleston as Loki in Loki Season 2.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. They all could have won, honestly. They were all great performances.
They were all fantastic performances. Again, I think a lot of people are already aware we're huge fans of the arc that Loki had throughout all of his appearances throughout the MCU and how it culminated in the way it did at the end of Loki Season 2. But Tom Hiddleston is a phenomenal actor. You know, he's honestly an Oscar-worthy actor. I think if he just got an Oscar-worthy role, I think he'd nail it. Very Shakespearean, very technical, brilliant in his deliveries and his choices that he makes.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tom Hiddleston just needs to do like a master class and how to be a fucking badass actor.
But I loved Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon. I think that was his best performance, and it was just so moving. From young Rocket to, although I don't think he voiced young Rocket, actually, but, you know, Rocket's journey was so incredible as well, going from basically this asshole raccoon to such a forgiving creature, you know, forgiving the High Evolutionary despite everything that he had gone through. That's why he was also a nominee for, you know, Best Hero. But yeah, the performance really enhanced that arc. Same goes for Shameik Moore as Miles Morales. And of course, Jonathan Majors was great as Kang. I thought he was really menacing, but I'm not about to give an award to a convicted criminal.
Okay. Strike 4. I don't know what happens on Strike 4.
I'll tell you what happens. We move on to the next award category, the penultimate category, which is Best Series or Special. Essentially, this category is like the home media compared to the theatrical releases for Marvel and DC, including both long-form content and shorter content, from entire seasons to 1-hour specials.
Sort of, I mean, DC does release direct-to-video stuff that is eligible for the Best Picture category, but you're right, for the most part, the series or special nominees are mostly enjoyed from home. And honestly, they're among my favorite projects. A lot of it is long-form content, serialized content, which is very fitting given the source material, which also is serialized. I love long-form storytelling. Let me break down the nominees for the best that DC brought this year.
The nominees are Doom Patrol Season 4, Harley Quinn Season 4, My Adventures with Superman Season 1, Titans Season 4.
All right, it's really going to come down to My Adventures with Superman Season 1 and Doom Patrol Season 4, because both were phenomenal. At the end, though, I think I'm going to go with My Adventures with Superman just because it was less uneven than Doom Patrol Season 4.
And the winner is My Adventures with Superman Season 1.
I feel like I'm kind of on a roll.
I don't know, I'm not counting. You were right in your reasoning for why My Adventures with Superman beat out Doom Patrol. As moving as the Doom Patrol was, there were some problems with it. Problems that did not exist for My Adventures with Superman, which was nearly perfect. I loved that series. I loved the take that they took with the Superman mythos. I loved the animated style that they did as well. I never would have thought Superman would have worked as a shonen anime, but it absolutely does. They knocked it out of the park, and I can't wait for season 2.
I was not looking forward to this show. I watched it begrudgingly. And then I walked away super thrilled that I did, because I've never been a fan of Superman, really, as a Marvel guy. And this show made me a fan, which is hugely commendable.
That's the biggest compliment the show could ever receive. The fact that it made Marvelous Joe a fan of a DC character. You guys heard it here.
Well, I mean, I still like every single other Marvel character more than Superman. But yeah, Superman's pretty cool now.
I'm debating whether or not to give you a strike 5.
I definitely think that my praise of the show is greater than the award that you just gave it.
No. There's no award greater than the Brothers Awards. We all know this.
Let's go to move on to Marvel and hear what the best series for that were.
The nominees are Loki Season 2, Secret Invasion Season 1, What If Season 2.
You only had 3. Wait, what's the 4th nominee?
There's no 4th nominee.
Holy shit, Marvel sucked this year. Well, the obvious answer is Loki Season 2. Even though I haven't finished What If Season 2, I know it's not beating Loki.
And the winner is Loki Season 2.
Well, I feel like I'm on a roll.
You're not, though.
Damn.
Barely. What If Season 2 is fantastic. I actually liked it more than What If Season 1. But you're right, nothing touches Loki Season 2. Of course, Secret Invasion is not even part of the discussion. That was a huge letdown when it absolutely should not have been. Like, the worst part about Secret Invasion is that it did not live up to its potential. And that's an even bigger crime in my book. Loki Season 2, I think, surpassed its potential. I think it told an incredible story, as we've already discussed many times this episode, because Loki has won a ton of awards, and deservedly so.
Yeah, no, I agree. Loki has been my favorite Marvel show out of everything that's been put out on Disney Plus so far, and I'm really, really glad that it went out on such a high note. It's absolutely deserving of this award. I just can't believe Marvel put out such little content this year that you can't even come up with 4 nominations. That is, wow, dropping the ball.
Yeah, I mean, Echo was supposed to come out this year, but they punted it to January. And they didn't have any specials this year, so yeah, I was stuck with 3 nominees.
DC's just crushing it, I guess.
Let's go to move on to our final award of the evening, which is Best Picture for Marvel and DC. You know, this is like the top tier award, like with the Oscars. Everybody wants to know what the best picture was of the year. Of course, this is even more important because it pertains to Marvel and DC, who never win Oscars. Right. For Best Picture, but they're damn gonna win a Brothers Award.
I mean, Black Panther and the Joker received nominations for Best Picture, but yeah, why does that matter when they could win a Brothers Award?
Exactly.
Let's find out what the best DC picture is for 2023.
The nominees are Batman, The Doom That Came to Gotham, Blue Beetle, The Flash, Merry Little Batman.
I'm surprised to see Merry Little Batman at this list, but it was such a cute movie that I guess it deserves to be here among the best. I think it's kind of a toss-up between Blue Beetle and The Flash, although The Doom That Came to Gotham was everything you would ever want it to be. I'm going to go with The Flash, though. I think you're going to give Flash Best Picture. That's my guess.
The winner is Blue Beetle.
Oh, shit. Just let you roll. Haha. Okay, so originally I was giving it to The Flash because for as much hate as it gets, I still think that's a really good movie. When I first came out of the theater after watching The Flash, I was so ecstatic that I gave the film a 4.5 rating, which I admit now is probably too high. I think it's a solid 4 film. I also gave Blue Beetle a 4, and in rewatching these films, now that I own them, I have to say Blue Beetle, in my opinion, is the better movie.
I'm finally glad to see you admit to your bias.
Dude, I've admitted to this before. Like, I give wrong ratings all the time, more frequently than I'm willing to admit. Like, the Joker got a wrong rating from me. The Flash definitely did, but Blue Beetle did not. It was a fantastic time at the theater. It's why you go to the theater to see these movies. But it was also a fantastic adaptation of the character, and one that I really hope James Gunn continues in the DCU.
I agree. As far as Blue Beetle goes, I think there was very little lacking in terms of what you would want or expect from a Blue Beetle origin story movie. I don't know if the same could be said about the other nominees on this list. Like, when it comes to The Flash, I think what you would want and expect is a more direct adaptation of the Flashpoint Paradox story. But Blue Beetle, they nailed.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I also loved the family themes that it had. As I mentioned earlier, the music was fantastic, and the CG that it had was the best, hands down, that DC put out this year.
I would totally agree with that. Yeah. The movie looked incredible. Unlike shots from The Flash or even Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Right. The latter of which wasn't even nominated for this award. Same goes with Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Well, I don't think it'll be hard to guess what my nominations were for Marvel, considering that Marvel only had 4 full-length pictures come out this year. So let me run down them.
The nominees are Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, The Marvels. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
You're probably going to give it to Across the Spider-Verse, but man, I'm really, really hoping you actually give it to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, because I think that was my personal favorite Marvel film of the year.
And the winner is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yes! James Gunn wins! Joseph likes DC!
I'm going to count that as a wrong guess because I think you actually guessed that I was going to pick Spider-Man on that one.
No, damn it!
So, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was incredible. I didn't get to review that one because it came out the same week that my little baby girl was born. That movie will actually always hold a special place in my heart because of that. But if I had gotten the chance to review Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse with you and Speas, I would have told you how much I loved it. It's actually probably one of the best animated films I've ever seen, but it's also just half a story. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was the culmination of a fantastic trilogy of films and was entirely satisfying as an end to these characters' journeys.
Yeah, absolutely. I really liked the Guardians of the Galaxy films, and I don't know, again, maybe I'm just a big softie, but I really like the way that the arcs ended for the characters that we had grown to love in the MCU.
Rocket's story was incredible. Star-Lord's journey was fantastic. I'm really excited to see where that goes in the future. I think it would have been hard to conceive of a better way to end that franchise than what James Gunn did with Volume 3.
Honestly, if we were giving one Best Picture award for both Marvel and DC, I would also give it to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I thought it was better than any of the movies that DC put out this year, and it really makes me look forward to what James Gunn can do in the DC universe.
Well, Across the Spider-Verse was also better than anything else DC put out this year. So, I think what I just heard you say was that Marvel is better than DC.
This year?
So you admit it?
In 2023, yes, in the theater, Marvel was better than DC. And
Holy crap.
And I don't think you're going to find anyone who disagrees with that, honestly.
You heard it here first, folks. Jonathan likes Marvel more than DC. I'm going to change your name to Red on the Discord.
Jeez. Just wait till the next Brothers Awards, okay? Because I guarantee you Joker Folie à Deux is going to blow anything that Marvel does out of the water. 2024 is the year of DC.
Maybe the year where DC embarrasses itself by producing a musical that it had no right making.
What is it with Marvel fans and musicals? Musicals are not bad. I just saw Wonka in the theater. I didn't know it was going to be a musical. It was a musical. It was fantastic. Musicals are not bad.
Can Joaquin Phoenix even sing?
You know he was in a band, right?
No.
Well, now you do.
Who wasn't in a band?
You.
That's true. But that brings us to the end of this award show, guys. We hope you had fun recounting the best that Marvel and DC had to offer in the year 2023. Really looking forward to 2024, kind of largely because Marvel Studios is only putting out one theatrical release, Deadpool 3. And Sony, is putting out 2 movies with Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter. So you might be right, Jonathan. 2024 might be the year of DC.
I mean, I'm sure Deadpool 3 is going to be amazing. I just don't think it's going to be up to the same caliber of film that Todd Phillips is going to make with Joker Folie à Deux. But of course, that's the only theatrical release that DC is putting out this upcoming year. I feel like we live in fucking COVID times. It's ridiculous. Freaking actor and writer strikes, man.
Yeah, those strikes really delayed a lot. It's a real shame. But luckily, there's a lot to enjoy on the small screen this year with television shows.
And direct-to-video animated features, like Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths, Watchmen, Aztec Batman, Creature Commandos, Kite Man Hell Yeah, and Suicide Squad Isekai as well. Not to mention The Penguin. Altogether, we're looking at about 10 DC projects to review in 2024.
It's going to be slim pickings for Marvel. It's unclear as to whether or not Agatha Darkhold Diaries is going to come out in 2024. Same thing with Eyes of Wakanda, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and Marvel Zombies. But we'll see. Maybe even Ironheart is going to come out this year. I know that Daredevil was pushed to 2025, so the Brothers Awards might be a little bit more predictable next December.
I predict that I'm going to beat your ass when it comes to guessing what you're going to choose.
I predict I'm going to beat your ass, period.
In real life.
That does it for this awards episode, guys. Let us know what you thought about it by writing to us at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com or by visiting us on Instagram or X. You can find links to all of our accounts by checking out our show notes or visiting our website at dynamicduel.com.
And on our site, you could also find a link to our Patreon page, where you could join our Dynamic 2.0 tier and chat with us and fellow listeners, our Fantastic 4 tier, which gets you bonus content each month, our X-Force tier, that makes you an executive producer of this podcast, and our newest tier, that lets you join our Dynamite Podcast Network. If you can't join Patreon, you could still support the show by signing up for our e-newsletter, also at dynamicduel.com, so you'll never miss an episode.
You could also rate our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, or on our website. Next week, we're going to review What If Season 2. I have good things to say about it, so Jonathan, I hope you agree when you watch it.
We'll see. But that does it for this episode. We want to give a big thanks to our executive producers, Ken Johnson,
John Starosky,
Zachary Hepburn,
Dustyn Balcom,
Miggy Matanguihan,
Brandon Estergard,
Nathaniel Wagner,
Levi Yeaton,
Nick Abanto,
Wesolowski,
AJ Dunkerley,
Scott Camacho,
Adam Speas,
and Andrew Schunk for helping make this podcast possible. And we'd like to thank all of you listeners out there for sticking with us another year. We truly appreciate having you guys check us out every week.
We hope you had a great new year, and here's to 2024. Up, up, and away!
True believers.
And I give the Best AI award to Ava in Ex Machina. Hubba hubba.